What is happening, Reds? What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. It is the Upper Tier Podcast. It is another Shankly Sessions for all us Liverpool Reds fans. It is a drive time preview. West Ham, the visitors to Anfield this weekend. A massive game for us. A massive 3 points required in that fight and that push for Champions League spots next season. We are right in the midst of it. We get to play first as well. Which is really important as well. Chelsea with a tough trip to Arsenal could be a big opportunity for us, and Man United of course hosting Crystal Palace. Never an easy game, but I would expect them to pick up the 3 points. Man United in a very good place at the moment. Chelsea, hard to know what way it will go. Darren did predict a 2-1 Chelsea win to throw the title race really wide open. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. How do you think the results are going to go? What the predictions are? All that kind of good stuff. Looking at that Forest game, would be very concerning. The gaffer confirming as well that Florian Wirtz is out and he doesn't have a time frame for it, which is really difficult for us at the moment because he's really been the playmaker and the guy who's been linking up with Hugo Ekitike. So with him out, you seen it last week against Forest. Very little creativity going on. Not a whole lot to celebrate really. We got away with one last week. My thinking is this week we wouldn't get away with it, so we need to be really on it this week. We're at home, so the pressure's on as well. Normally, under normal circumstances, I would say this should be one where we get the 3 points. Not that I like to be cocky at the moment, especially when we don't know kind of which Liverpool side is going to show up. But I think in this case it's a little bit more difficult because West Ham find themselves in a massive relegation dogfight at the moment, and they could be in trouble as well if Spurs were to beat Fulham and if Forest were to pick up points as well. Forest will be buoyed by their European endeavours, let's say. Then you could get that gap getting created there again. Do I expect Spurs to go beat Fulham? No. And I probably expect Forest maybe to pick up a draw. But let's see what happens in that. But that could heap the pressure on West Ham. So West Ham will be looking. They will be trying to get the 3 points here. Now we know Nuno, he's very good as a tactician and stuff like that as well. So he will have West Ham set up very well for this. From our point of view as well, in this case I would say trying to kind of avoid wing play as much as we can and try and play through the middle. Because we know how good they are attacking wise. The boy up front, Castanas, has done really well, but I think they kind of deploy him nearly as a decoy. I think he nearly acts as the decoy, doesn't he, to pull open those middle spaces. So then you have Somerville coming in from the left cutting in, you have Bone coming in from the right cutting in, and that's where it kind of opens up for them to let fly. Now we know how good the boy Somerville is because a number of seasons ago when he was playing for Leeds, he absolutely tore us up at Anfield. So we need to be careful of that boy as well. And on his day, if he's up for it as well, he's a very good footballer. We don't need to say anything about Jarrod Bowen. I think Jarrod Bowen is a sensational footballer. I think at times he's been very loyal to West Ham. And I think if West Ham were to go down, I wonder would Jarrod stay with them or would he look for pastures new. But certainly he would be a very good player for most of the top teams in the Premier League, and certainly would be a massive squad player as well if he came into some teams. Linked with us a number of seasons ago as well when there was talk of Mo Salah leaving as well. Jarrod Bowen was potentially tipped as the man that could slot in there. Who knows? But that's where their danger is, and obviously you'll have Wan-Bissaka with the overlapping runs as well. So Kerkez is going to have a busy day tomorrow, and he's going to need the full support of Van Dijk in there, and obviously McAllister on that side as well, dropping in to help him out because he could easily get overrun if he's not careful. For us, the 3 points is so important. That midfield battle is going to be key. The boy Fernandes in there has been a revelation. He absolutely pulls the strings for West Ham, so it's him who we need to quieten down so he can't launch those attacks and stuff like that. He's a really good footballer, kind of as good a footballer as I'm thinking. He may not be at West Ham for a long time, to be honest. I think he's really good and goes unnoticed as well. Self and Darren have spoke about him a number of times on the podcast, and when you see the work that guy does in midfield and stuff like that, that's why I'm thinking this weekend, reflecting back on the Forest game, I really think we need to get Dom back in the midfield doing that bit of creative work and stuff like that. Maybe Curtis back in the right back position and stuff like that. Go really, really strong. There is a midweek round of fixtures as well to come. And of course this morning as well, 11 AM, we have the Champions League draw. Will it be Galatasaray? Will it be Atleti? What is your preference? Who knows? We shall see. 11 o'clock we'll know more. But park that for the moment. The most important thing at the moment is to get this 3 points on Saturday and lay down a marker to Chelsea and Man United. Keep the pressure on there in that race for those top 4. I think top 5 positions now is practically confirmed at this stage. I can't see anyone else pipping us for that spot. So let's see what happens there. Where we can have a lot of joy this weekend, I think, if we look at their centre back pairing, the Sassy and Mavropanos. We know they can be got at, especially Mavropanos. He's an absolute hothead and stuff like that. So if we could get a little card or a little booking on either of them early on, could create a lot of danger and stuff like that. They are 2 big boys as well, so I don't expect us to get a huge amount of joy out of free kicks into the box or crosses into the box. So that's why I'm thinking maybe if we play the ball up through the middle, if we can bypass the midfield and get the likes of Mavropanos or the Sassy turned, that's where we can have a lot of joy, I think, through that middle area. I think with Wan-Bissaka on one side, you know, I think it's a lot more difficult for Kerkez as well to operate. I think he's going to have his hands full, and I think at times with Kerkez, I think he'll be slightly on the back foot as well with that combination of Bone and Wan-Bissaka there as well. He's going to need a lot of support and stuff like that. But I think we're going to need the strength of Dom in there and in the midfield, especially up against the boy Fernandez as well. That would be a key battle in there. Obviously McAllister and Gravenberch in there as well. We need a very strong midfield, and what we need to do is we need somewhat to try and overrun them. If we can break from midfield, we can create that panic with Mavropanos and the Sassy, and that's where I think we can get a lot of joy in this game. That's my general thinking on it. You know, the gaffer obviously confirming Florian Wirtz out, which is really, really disappointing because he was really starting to hit his straps. And from a creative point of view, especially with West Ham, who will play quite a patient game as well, you know, they will try to frustrate us, like what Forest came out and kind of played and stuff like that, but they got to frustrate us for long periods of that game as well, where we just couldn't get our passing going. They'll hass us and harry us and stuff like that and all, so our passing game isn't as fluid as it should be. Last week's passing game was absolutely shocking. I don't think I've ever seen a worse 45 minutes of passing from a Liverpool side than I did that first half last week. So a massive uplift in form is required here. My overall thinking, if we do rock up and play the way we played against Forest, we're going to be in trouble here. This is a West Ham side absolutely fighting for their lives and for relegation, and to avoid it. And they will be out, not out for a draw either. They'll be out for the 3 points. They'll need to get 3 points on the board, because their concern will be that yes, Spurs do beat Fulham maybe, or Forest do pick up points, and if they do, then that gap widens again. And this run that West Ham has been on, this really good period for them under Nuno, where they're finding their feet, will have been really for nothing. So let's see what happens this weekend. It's a massive game at Anfield. 3 o'clock kickoff as well. We do love 3 o'clock quick kickoffs at Anfield as well. I'm going to predict 3-1. I'm going to predict 3-1. That's what I hope it will be, and I hope Liverpool will give us a comfortable day at the office, a nice 3 points, so we can then sit back and see how Arsenal and Chelsea goes, and then see how United and Crystal Palace goes. They're the key games this weekend. Obviously City heading to Ellen Road in the title race. That's going to be a very interesting one. Not an easy place to go, and especially when you look at City against Newcastle last week, that second half, Man City under a lot of pressure. They're feeling the pressure of this title race as well. And then of course Arsenal entertaining Chelsea, London derby. Anything can happen in this. Two teams that could be explosive in terms of the litmus paper. You know, hotheads in that team and stuff like that. That midfield could get quite feisty in that London derby, so we'll see what happens there as well. Let us know your thoughts. Don't forget, folks, as well, tonight we got the double watch along, double derby Friday. We're covering Wolverhampton Wolves versus Aston Villa, and we're going to be covering Bohemians versus Shamrock Rovers in the League of Ireland Premier League, a massive fixture every year, massive Dublin derby as well. So join us for that bit of crack open a beer, get yourself a Coke Zero, an ale cup of tea or coffee, whatever it is. Join us for that, and we'll have a bit of crack in the chat and stuff like that as well, as we bring you both those watch-alongs. I've never done a double watch-along, so it's going to be interesting as well to try and focus on both games, but I will try and do my best. Listen, if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button. It is the upper tier, and for all us Reds, of course, the playlist is the Shankly Sessions. That's where all the Liverpool content goes in, and I will talk to you again real soon. Cheers.